I applied to 1,000 finance jobs just to see how easy, or how not so easy, this job market really is. Most companies are trying to hire now, so the hypothesis is that I would be able to get plenty of interview requests or job offers. To do this, I needed a resume that was good, but not amazing. Just something that would be acceptable to most hiring managers in finance and that would allow us to get a solid idea on what the job market looks like. To make things easy, I used my own resume as a template and then made a few adjustments to make it more general. Next, we needed a name for me. I wanted to go with something that could be a male or female or a white person or a black person. I would have loved to be able to use a last name that sounds like it could be for someone who might be white, black, Asian, or Latino. But I really couldn't think of any good examples for that. So we went with Dakota Williams. I also wanted to test the market for a college student versus someone with a few years of experience. So for that, we made two versions of the same resume. In one, Dakota is just about to graduate and is looking for his or her first full-time position. And in the other, Dakota has 3 years of experience as a junior financial analyst. Finally, I needed a phone number and an email address. Got a couple funny looks buying a burner phone from Walmart, but we got the job done. Now, I was ready to start applying to some finance jobs. You might be wondering how I'm actually applying to all of these jobs, and to be honest, it's pretty straightforward. It's just using job searching websites like Indeed or ZipRecruiter, creating a profile for Dakota Williams, and uploading the resume. Once you're set up on these sites, it's easy to start applying to jobs, and you can apply to many of them. Now, when you're applying to jobs in the real world, it's almost always a good idea to connect with the person you spoke with on LinkedIn or connect with a hiring manager on LinkedIn. Find someone's email address from their website, or maybe even handwrite a note that you mail into the office, or stop by and drop it off in person if you're able to. Those little touches can really set you apart from some of the other applicants. But in this case, it would just take far too long to do all that 1,000 times. So we are really shooting for quantity over quality here. Also, shout out to the YouTube channel Logical Finance for this video idea. I used some of his methodology for applying to 1,000 different jobs for this video too. So this application is asking for a fun fact that I find interesting. How about Venus is hotter than... Okay, here's a cool one. It just says pick a stock. How about John Deere? Okay. That was job application number 1,000. Please like this video for all of that work because it took a lot more time than I originally thought. The slowest part of this process has been completing job applications that ask you to fill out a personality test. I did not just want to quickly click through random answers on these tests because then I really wouldn't know what kind of results are being generated for the application. So I treated each one as if I was actually completing it for myself, at least to provide some consistency. And doing it this way can take 15 or 30 minutes sometimes to complete each personality test, so that really slowed down the process. Getting into the results, there were a couple of interesting trends that I noticed while filling out all of these job applications. First, I was a bit surprised by how often the application actually showed me the salary I could expect if I landed that job. Now, in my opinion, it makes perfect sense to show applicants the salary that they should expect if they were to get into a job that they're applying for. Doing so should eliminate some of the headache that can come from negotiations after you offer somebody a position. But I guess I just didn't expect to see it as often as I did online. Of the 1,000 jobs that I applied to, 571, so more than half, showed the expected salary for the position that I was filling out the application for, which I thought was pretty cool. Next, given the way that the professional workplace has changed since the pandemic, there were fewer jobs than I thought I would see that offered employees to work partially or completely from home. I know now that getting near the middle of 2022, the pandemic has mostly subsided, but that quarantine period that millions or billions of us experienced seem to change the workplace in some big ways. Yet, only 259 of the 1,000 jobs I applied for listed that they would allow the job applicant to work partially or completely from home in that position. And it could just be that the work from home environment is more of a technology industry thing, whereas in finance, most of the jobs or all the jobs that I was applying to, a lot of business is done face-to-face. So let's talk about how many interview requests and actual job offers that Dakota Williams received throughout this process. And just for the sake of simplicity, I'm considering each of those two things basically a win for this application. I know that a job offer is a bigger deal than an interview request, but I was actually surprised to get any job offers. Just given the informality of an online application process, I would have expected to at least get requests for a phone interview from a few of these that did give job offers, and there weren't that many of those, so we're just gonna lump them in to the other jobs who did offer a request for interview after the applications. So of the 500 jobs that I applied to as Dakota Williams, the current undergraduate student graduating from university in the next couple of months, exactly 50 of them extended an interview request to me. Of the other 500 jobs that I applied to, where I listed Dakota Williams as someone having 3 years of experience as a financial analyst, 42 of those applications resulted in a request for an interview either over the phone or in person. So all in all, 92 interview requests, about a 9% success rate. And remember that most of Dakota Williams' resume was a direct copy from mine, just with some edits to make things a bit more general. So I wouldn't necessarily say I had my feelings hurt by this 9% success rate, but my expectation going into this exercise, just because of the state of at least what I hear about the job market right now and what I've seen a little bit firsthand about the job market, I expected to get some more offers for interviews. Again, remember, I was really informal with these applications. The goal was to submit as many and as quickly as I could. So if you were going more slowly through a process like this and you added more personal touches, sent cover letters, sent emails, thank you letters, things like that, your success rate should theoretically be higher than 9%, assuming you had an equally qualified resume. Also, the direct job offers I received, I hinted at earlier, there were 6 of those out of 92, 3 for Dakota Williams, the undergrad student, and 3 for Dakota Williams with 3 years of experience in a full-time position. Now, it's probably worth mentioning that each of these 6 that offered the job outright were, maybe you could say, on the lower end of prestige, certainly on the lower end of pay, and probably from companies that hire in far more candidates than some of the more prestigious type finance jobs that I applied to. So it was successful in getting 6 actual job offers, but they weren't necessarily the best roles in my opinion. Finally, we can talk about the compensation that I saw throughout this experience. I have a number for the average compensation from all the applications that actually displayed what the expected total comp should be. And then also the number of the average compensation of the 92 jobs that I was asked to come back in for an interview for, looking at those of which included the expected compensation on the applications for them. Keep in mind, about 90% of these were entry-level finance roles, with some of them being maybe middle tier or like associate level finance roles. So of the 571 jobs that I applied to that showed the expected compensation for that position, the average was about $48,500 per year. There was a wide range here. There were a lot of like retail banking jobs offering like, you know, $18 an hour, so it's $36,000 a year. But then there were also some more prestigious asset management entry-level jobs offering like $80,000 a year. So it's a wide range, but you have the average. And then the average compensation of the ones that actually displayed it, of the 92 that responded to me for an interview request, was $46,720. And I think it makes sense that the average expected comp would be lower for the jobs that actually sent me the offer, because some of those jobs with the higher levels of total compensation would just require more effort and connections to actually land those positions. I had more success with the lower paying jobs that I applied to. All in all, it was a cool exercise. I think pretty eye-opening for the average finance undergrad student or finance job applicant with a few years of experience. We probably got a little more action on the university student's resume just because I was applying to, on average, a lower paying job with that resume. But if you did this 10,000 times, which I promise you in my lifetime I will never do, you might see the number come out closer to 50-50, at least that would be my expectation. I very much hope you like this video in your heart, but also on the like button down below. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you want to see more content like this in the future, and as always, thanks for watching.